the moment Alara's trembling fingers brushed the Alpha King's arm. The world seemed to stop because, for the first time in weeks, his fury did too. No one dared breathe. The storm raging behind King Ravian's eyes had been tearing the palace apart for days. Soldiers sent running, advisors fleeing, the pack trembling under the weight of an Alpha losing control. But the tiny Omega girl standing before him wasn't supposed to matter. She wasn't supposed to be seen. She certainly wasn't supposed to touch him. She had been brought only to heal the wounded after the border attack. A quiet Omega with downcast eyes and a sense so faint it was almost forgettable. Almost, because the second Ravian turned toward her, his instincts had roared awake. And when her fingers grazed his skin, the anger suffocating him shattered like thin glass. Alara, he murmured, his voice rough, unfamiliar. What did you just do to me? Her breath hitched. Nothing, Your Majesty. You were hurting. Hurting. He almost laughed. No one had described him that way, not since the night he'd lost his mate 2 years ago. And yet something in this girl's voice, soft, unbearably gentle, forced him to see himself through her eyes. Fragile, wounded, breakable. Ravian stepped closer. Too close. Where have you been hiding? I wasn't hiding, she whispered. You've just never looked. He should have turned away. She wasn't his equal, wasn't even supposed to stand in the same room unless summoned. But he couldn't move. Her scent wrapped around him, quiet and warm and devastating. Come with me, he ordered. Alara blinked. Why? Because I can breathe again. But he didn't say that. Instead, he led her to his private chambers where guards never followed. The silence grew thick, heavy with tension neither understood. Ravian finally spoke. When you touched me, the rage vanished. No one has ever calmed me like that. I didn't mean to, Alara said, though her heartbeat betrayed her fear. Or something else. He stepped even closer. Do it again. She hesitated, then lifted a trembling hand to his chest. His pulse jumped. Her palm rested over his heart. And warmth unfurled through him like sunrise after a lifetime of storms. Alara, he breathed. What are you? I'm just an Omega. No, he said, tilting her chin up. You're something else. Slowly, carefully, as though he feared she might vanish. He pressed his forehead to hers. It wasn't a kiss, not yet, but it was more intimate than anything he'd allowed since his mate's death. Alara's breath shivered, and he felt it, her longing, her restraint, her fear of wanting the impossible. Days passed. Then weeks. Alara became the only person allowed near him during his unpredictable surges of alpha power. She never flinched, never looked at him with the terror everyone else did. And Ravian King, warrior, legend found, himself waiting for the sound of her soft footsteps outside his door. He told himself it was only because she calmed him, but the truth was far more dangerous. He was falling for her, the night of the Moon Devotion Festival. Ravian finally let himself look at Uri. Look. Dressed in pale silver, Alara seemed carved from moonlight itself. Delicate, yet unshakably strong. His chest tightened painfully. She noticed him staring and blushed. You should be with your court. Your Majesty? I'd rather be with you. Her breath caught, but before she could answer, a voice thundered across the hall. Alara of the lower ward stepped forward. She froze. Ravian's muscles, tensed. The High Seer entered, gaze sharp as knives. Omega Alara carries a forbidden bond. Ravian growled. Explain yourself. The Seer lifted a trembling hand and pointed at Alara. She was born marked for the Alpha King. A true mate carrying a sealed bond. Gasps erupted. Alara shook her head violently. No, I'm not your mate. I can't be. I was told since childhood I was cursed. Rejected. The twist struck Ravion like a blade. Rejected mate. The room blurred. Asterisk, who told you that? He demanded. Asterisk, my family. They said the bond was dangerous. That I'd ruin whoever I was tied to. Asterisk, Ravion's heart thundered. They lied. Asterisk, Elara's eyes filled with tears of fear, of longing. Of a lifetime believing she was unwanted. Asterisk, he reached for her, but she stepped back. You already had a mate. I can't take her place. Asterisk, you aren't replacing her, he said softly. But you're the only one who's made me want to live again. Silence. Then Elara whispered, what if I break you? Asterisk, you already saved me. Asterisk, slowly, she lifted her hand. It hovered in the air between them, trembling the same hand that had calmed the storm inside him from the very first moment. Asterisk Ravion took it gently, threading his fingers through hers. The bond snapped open like a heartbeat finding its match. Warmth flooded them both. Ravion pulled her against his chest, burying his face in her hair. You were never rejected, he murmured. You were waiting. Asterisk, her arms wrapped around him, fragile but certain. Then take me home, she whispered. Asterisk, you are home. They walked out of the festival together, the furious Alpha King and the Omega, who could quiet him with a touch. But he no longer needed calming. Not when he held the woman destiny had given him, not when her heartbeat matched his, not when her presence filled the empty spaces he'd believed would stay hollow forever. Asterisk, for the first time in years, Ravion felt whole. Asterisk and Elara, once convinced she was cursed and unwanted, finally understood the truth. She was chosen. She was loved. Asterisk. And the king who had nearly lost himself to rage now smiled a rare, breathtaking thing because his mate, the one he was never meant to overlook, was finally at his side where she belonged. Asterisk, together. They stepped into a future brighter than any prophecy had ever dared to promise. Asterisk.